Welcome back to Viewer's Voice. So for this episode, I'm going to talk more about trust, and I've definitely brought it up a few other times in my previous videos, such as when I spoke about like relationships, as trust is like a huge foundation for all relationships, friendships, couple relationships, family members, whatever. Trust plays a huge role in a lot of the things that we do day to day. Otherwise, you wouldn't probably not be doing as many things as you do, or you wouldn't be so you wouldn't have so much faith in it without a little bit of trust. Like waking up, for instance, turn on the stove. You trust the fact that the stove isn't gonna be, malfunctioning or having difficulties. You trust that it's gonna be how it was yesterday, the day before, whatever, and that it's gonna work perfectly fine. Even if you don't trust people, you still have a little bit of trust in your everyday life. That's why I plan on speaking about it. Now, the way I view trust, it works inversely the way respect works. See, now, let's say you see somebody across the street, or you're in a room or location, and there happen to be other people around you. Now, when you meet somebody, you want to respect them until they show you otherwise. Same way you would want them to respect you. Now, with trust, it's not as easy, because you're not just going to trust anybody you just come across. The same way you wouldn't expect anybody to just trust you when they come across you. That's why it works inversely with respect. I could walk up to somebody and respect them until they give me a reason not to respect them. Maybe they do foolish things, or the way they view things or go about things is completely different from mine. Therefore, I may lack a little bit of respect for them, or I could just see that they don't really hold themselves up properly. They don't carry their own weight. So that respect isn't high in terms of them. When I view that person, I don't just automatically respect them because they aren't giving me any reason to. In the same way, when it comes to trust, you don't just see somebody and be like, oh yeah, I trust this person with everything. No, it's not how it works. That's something you build. That's something that you try to gain over time and you try to build upon. But the way trust works is you lose it a lot easier and a lot harder than you gain it in the first place. Now, you could spend years trying to gain somebody's trust, to lose it in a matter of 5 seconds, just because you did something foolish or you did something that went against them and betrayed them in a sense and made them no longer be able to trust you. And the way I spoke about trust previously is trust isn't something that you could just get back 100%. At least I don't view it that way. No matter how hard you try, it will never fully be 100% because at some point you did betray them. And even if you spend 1,000 years trying to, redeem yourself in a sense, you will not fully be able to get back to that 100% because you lost that, if that makes sense. So picture like this. Let's say you've known someone for about 6 months, and within those 6 months, they show you that they're a pretty trusty person and that they will not double cross you or do anything foul in a sense. So that trust rapidly builds up, probably sooner than others. And with this specific person, you're able to trust them 100%. Right? Now, let's say within the next month, they do something that isn't immediately going to lose your trust, but it does bring it down a little bit. Let's say this person happens to be one of your closest friends, and you aren't too fond on a different group of people because maybe they disrespected you before, or basically they went against you before, and you're just not too fond on these people. And that very close friend that you have, maybe they spoke to these people and kind of befriended these people, and now to you, that feels, like a little bit of betrayal. To them, they may not have known, or to them, it may not have seemed like a big deal, but yet, obviously, to you, you felt a little bit betrayed. But since there was nothing too major, depending on the type of person you are, that still lost some trust, but maybe not too much. Maybe, let's say, them doing that by their actions, they probably lost 15, 20, 25% of your trust. Because to you, it shows you that they're okay with talking to people that you're not too keen on or something of the sort. And now, by their actions, they just lost a quarter or a fifth or however much of your trust. And the way I view that is you still trust them maybe 75, 80% correct. Problem is, though, you may never be able to trust them that little 25, 20, 15% margin, like I said, it's grayed out. At least in the time being, it's grayed out. No matter how hard you try, in the near future, you will not be able to increase that trust meter any further because you just lost it, and it's a very hard thing to get back. Now, if you're able to get it back, and let's say out of the 20% that's grayed out, 15% clears up, right? And let's say the rest of the meter is yellow, right? Just give it a color. Let's say the rest of the meter is yellow. About what? 20% of the meter, instead of being yellow, like the other 80%, 20% of the meter remains red, right? You can still get that red piece of the meter back, but it's going to take double the amount that it took to get the yellow meter filled up, if that makes sense. So let's just give it some percentages in the actual visual. Let's say it's a meter 100%. 70% of it is yellow, the trust that you built upon in the past 6 months. Let's say this 20% is some of the trust that you just lost from the person that you're trying to build back and that you're able to build back. And let's just say the 10% is where you're just at the current moment or indefinitely you're just cut off. You're not able to get that 10% back no matter how hard you try. So the best you're able to get right now is 90% of their trust total, right? That red margin is, like I said, it's going to take double the amount as the yellow margin took, because you did something foul and now it's going to take twice as much work as it took before to try to get it back, because trust is something that's very fragile and not something that you could just play around with and expect to get back in a matter of 2 seconds. Well, like I said, respect differs. Maybe 1 minute I don't have respect for you at all. Maybe you do something so courageous and brave, and that just gains unlimited amount of respect for you, right? Maybe I had you wrong. Maybe I didn't think you were capable of doing such things, and then you just showed me otherwise, and now I just respect you so much, kind of thing. Trust is not that easy. You could show me that you do something that's very, very trustworthy in a sense, but sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes it really isn't that simple. Let's say you're a financial worker in some sense. You aid people with their money, whatever, and based off of other people have said in the past or your history, I'm just supposed to expect you to be a trustworthy person to hand my money over with too, and expect that you're gonna do the right thing with it. Depending on the type of history you have, maybe I'll look at this and be like, this person has really good history, really good connections. People say he's good at what he does. Maybe I'll be more keen to looking at you for help compared to others. But even then, that doesn't apply to everybody. Maybe those people giving you good reviews or good comments are just people that you know closely, and you don't know me at all. So instead of handling my money in the same manner, you just do whatever you want with it. Therefore, I can't just fully trust you with it the same way I might be able to trust myself with it, or someone else that I do know the same way you know your friends, kind of thing. And that's why trust is very important. And you just don't want to take it for granted or lack the ability to see how important it is for you and for someone else. Because the same way you trust somebody, you don't want them to lose that trust in you. The same way you don't want to lose trust in somebody else and lose somebody else's trust. Because, like I said, it's going to take a long time trying to get it back. And you don't want to take a dozen steps back from where you are currently. That time you built up the things that you've done in order to sway them into trusting you, you don't want to have to rebuild all that back double just because of a minor mistake or something that you viewed as not that deep, or whatever the case may be, because it causes more trouble in the future. And yeah, you're supposed to quote unquote forgive and forget, but sometimes it's not that easy. Forgiving, maybe, right? We all do forgive at some point, but forgetting, no, because you don't want to forget something that probably taught you a lesson. And if they did something that lost your trust, that probably taught you not to be so trusting or so easy and appealing to others immediately off the rip. So therefore, you don't want to just forget the instance where you felt betrayed, where someone went against you and you no longer have that 100% trust for them. You don't want to forget something like that. Yeah, you may forgive them in a matter of a couple weeks, but to forget the incident, whatever, that could take years, right? Or to at least forget the pain that you felt from the incident. That could still take some time, but you may never fully forget it. And that's still not a bad thing, but like I said, it's just important to understand what you do, who you trust, what you do with someone else's trust. As like I said, it's not that simple as respect. Respect, you could lose it tomorrow, get it back the day after, or gain respect today, lose it tomorrow, kind of thing. Trust, like I said, takes a while, and you don't want to have someone's trust today and lose it tomorrow, because that could take you into a year to get it all back. But I'm gonna say that's gonna be all for this video. I appreciate each and every one of you for listening. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.